Okay boys and girls, today you are learning about Jeff Coombs and his balloon animals, and he makes these balloon animals out of metal and he has them in public areas. I've been lucky actually because I was able to see one in New York on the street one day when I was visiting there, and then I actually have this little tiny ornament to remind me of when I did get to see his artwork, and this is what it looks like. It's all made up of little balloon shapes, and we're going to be inspired by this artwork and create our own using paper and paint. So what you're going to receive today is a template that you're going to trace around. Now if you look here, the template is just like the balloon shapes on this dog here. So we're going to be making 7 of these shapes. I'm going to put my little dog to the side here, okay, so he can be nice and quiet and watch what we're going to do today. I'm going to use a bright piece of green paper, but you're going to get the choice. You're going to get to see what bright colours we've got, and you make that decision. Today I'm using this one, and you're going to get one of these, and what you're going to do is actually set it down at the very edge of your long strip of paper, and with a pencil I want you to go round that shape, trace it around the shape, and then move it across ever so slightly, but make sure that they're not overlapping, and then draw that shape again. And you're going to do that 7 times, and it's going to fit. You don't want big wide gaps, but you want maybe just like the width of your finger in between each one. That'll be a good guide, because you'll need to cut these out. You're going to use your best scissor skills to cut these shapes out. So I'm going to trace around my 7 shapes so that I'm ready for you guys. Now when you've done that, give this back to me, and now you're going to see also that our balloon dog has a little triangular shaped nose, and he's got this little shape here at the back. So what we're going to do, somewhere on our green paper that I've got, you're going to look for a gap. So I'm going to draw a triangle just here on a spare area for his nose, and then think of your finger. If you do a shape like your finger and then a straight line, that's going to be his tail. So I'm just going to draw a bit like half of a hot dog, like that. So I'm going to show you what I've just done. So today I've given you all some white tempera paint and some black tempera paint, and what we're going to do is actually, where we drew all our pencil lines, we're going to outline very carefully around the shape. So I'm going to go round, follow it round, and I'm going to do that for all 7 of them. Now I find it's a lot easier if I wet my brush just with a little bit of water and then dip it into the paint, and then I go around the shape, and then the paint actually moves really smoothly around that oval. So I'm going to go right back to the very first one that I did, because that would be the one that's the most dry, and I'm going to get some white paint on my brush, not a lot, just a little bit, and what we're going to do is we're going to add highlights, and excuse me, you're going to highlight just inside. Don't touch the black paint, but just go inside one of the curves and paint a white curve, and you can do that for all 7 of them. So you're going to go right along that curve and do it exactly the same for every single one of those, just like that. Now because I'm using green paper, I'm actually going to use a little bit of green paint, and this is going to be the same for you guys. So what colour you're using, whether you use a bright red, an orange, I will give you that colour. And then what you're going to do is, again, start from this side, and on the other side of the inside of the oval, you're going to paint a shadow. So you're really creating something that looks like it's three-dimensional because you're adding value, light and dark. Now that's done, make sure that you've got your name on it. So I'm going to write Mrs. D there. I'm ready to put that on the drying rack, and then I'm going to start creating the background. Alright, so now you're going to get this large sheet of blue paper, and what I want you to do is put your hand at the bottom and just do a little dot at the side, just roughly, little dot at the side. You can just about see mine. I'm going to give you a crayon. I'm going to use my drawing crayon here, and you're going to go right across your paper and create a straight line, and then above that line we're actually going to create a cityscape. Now cityscape, because I was telling you I saw Jeff Koons' balloon dog in New York, so we're going to do a city scene and big skyscraper. So I'm going to draw rectangular shapes and squares, and they're all going to be tight together. So big, tall. I'm going to make this one go up. I'm going to give him a pointy roof, come down. Now there's your cityscape. Don't worry about painting along this line, you're going to know why in a moment, but take a white oil pastel or a crayon. A white oil pastel is probably better, and just very carefully, I'm using the side of mine actually because I like the texture, and I'm going to create some fluffy clouds. And if you want to, do the same thing as me and then use the point of it, and then you can actually add some definition. Scalloped lines are lovely for clouds. So remember, a scalloped line is a curve that goes to a point, curve to a point. So I'm just going to add some fluffy clouds to my cityscape and keep going with that. The bottom half of your painting is where you're going to apply a collage now, and I'm going to give you a sheet of green paper. Now this is really too big for that area, but I'm going to show you what you're going to do with it. I'm just going to put this to the side because it's still a little bit wet, and you can use your scissors or you can do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to, just along the top, I'm going to tear very slowly. I'm going to use this finger to guide it, and I'm going to tear jaggy edges. Now if you are really worried about causing those jaggy edges and you think you're going to rip the whole thing, you could actually use your scissors and cut jaggy edges as well, like that. I'm going to continue. I want to actually tear mine because I really love the shape that it's getting. So I'm just going to rip, and it's only along the top, boys and girls. Okay, just along the top. So you can see I've only pulled a little piece away. We don't need those scraps there. Bring back my painting. And then set it down there. And just overlap, see where the line is? Just overlap where that line is. Now this is going to go over the edge at the bottom, which is great, okay? And if it's too big, we can trim it down, okay? Now we know that Jeff Koons' balloon dog is covered in curves, so instead of drawing grass going with straight lines growing up, what I wanted to do was actually create curves that mirror the dog shape. And I thought, what can I use? So this is a stick of celery. So I'm going to give you a piece of celery, and you can see it's got a lovely curve, and we're going to print make with this. And I'm just going to put some black paint. I have it that it's on a tray for you. Then put your end of your celery stick like that and press it and print it, and just randomly print . Now set that onto the drying rack, and when this is dry, now we're going to cut all of these out. Okay boys and girls, now you've got everything cut out, I just want you to look at this dog again, because he has, see the white light that's hitting him? That's what we're going to do with our paper cutouts. So the very first thing, we're going to put a leg, whoops, I'm spinning, leg, leg. Now look at the sunlight hitting on the outside. And then his body, sunlight on his back. Then we're going to add his tail, and at the very end of his tail we've got the little tip there, so we're going to make sure that that fits okay. Then I'm going to create, I'm just going to show you here with his neck goes up, his head, and then his big ears, all made out of balloon shapes. And the very last thing is this triangular nose. Okay, and you want to make sure that the point of the triangle is going inwards to the end of his nose there on the balloon. And when you've got that all laid out and it actually fits perfectly, then you're going to take it step by step, and you're going to work again with the pieces that you put down first. Going to go round the shape with your glue stick, and then in the center, and then stick it down. So you're going to go back to the very first one that you laid down, and then the leg as well. Stick that down. Okay,